Today I'm going to show you how to build the French cleat system and give you some examples of how you can use it to build tool storage in your garage workshop.
We'll also today get to listen to some good dad jokes and watch me be a warning to you. Tree to Table Woodworking, the YouTube station with the sexy voice and made for the one garage woodworker.
Now, of course, in the making of this video, you don't get to see me use all these cool tools that we're making the storage for, but if you hit the subscribe button, I'll pop out some videos where you do get to see me use them all. I thought that was a pretty good shameless plug, don't you? For a long time, I didn't really have a good storage system for my tools, and I mean a long time. I tried everything. We had stuff on the ground, we had stuff overhead, we had stuff in drawers, we had stuff in cabinetry, and the end result was always the same. And I think a lot of you can relate to me on this. You stuff stuff back in whatever storage container you use, and then a year later you discovered you had 3 of the same thing: solvents, glue, screws, random power tools, because you had finished stuffing it back, forgot that you had it, couldn't find it, and you went to the store to go buy it again. At the very least frustrating, and at the reality of the situation, most likely counterproductive. And then finally I discovered this system called the French cleat. It's not new and the physics are really simple, and I'm really upset that I didn't do it sooner, but here we are. So before we even get to the tutorial on how to build the French cleat system, some of you are probably asking, what is the French cleat system? And that is a great question, and for that I have this really cool mock-up. So the French cleat system, it's nothing more than mating 2 45-degree pieces of board to make one 90-degree piece of board. Think of it as the hallmark relationship of the joinery world. You have one piece of board that has a mid-20-something-year-old handsome guy from Vermont who works in the trades. You have one frustrated woman from New York who is looking to go find herself in the same small town in Vermont. And as unlikely as it is in real life and in any made-up story, but yet somehow keeps continuing on every holiday season, they come together, they meet, and make a stronger whole. Now, for those of you that didn't catch that, pretend that this is the wall, and this is one half of the French cleat system. This is the other half of the French cleat system, which is nothing more than a mating 45-degree piece, and then whatever else you want to stick on the other side. It doesn't come off, it doesn't slip right or left unless you want it to, and the only way you can get it off is pulling it up and out. Some of you may be asking, why do they call it the French cleat? And the simple answer is, not a clue. I once served with a French foreign exchange officer, and he came over one afternoon and inspected my fridge. That was embarrassing. So apparently making French into an adjective and putting it in front of a noun, think French mustard, French dressing, French windows, doesn't make it actually French. And according to my buddy that afternoon, it is somewhat offensive. I've never really heard of a marketing campaign being used for a joinery technique before. Maybe that was our attempt. The French cleat. Now there are several reasons why the French cleat and the subsequent storage options it represents make sense for a guy like me. As already mentioned, it keeps everything out in the open. I can see it, I know exactly where it is, and when I need it, I take it. And when I don't need it, I put it back. It's really easy to sustain an organized garage workspace, which for some of us is difficult to do without a system. One of the other reasons that I really enjoy this system is that it works really well in a small workshop like this one bay. What do you mean by that? Well, so you put everything on the walls, there are no cabinets jutting out into your space, but most importantly, when you do need some extra space, you can simply move things. One of the complaints of the French cleat system that I personally don't buy into is that they think it's unstable because it can't be lifted off. However, I find that one of its benefits. I need more space here for a random process that I'm doing. I now have more space for the random process that I'm doing. I am now done with that random process. We're done. Okay. I can move on with life now. So yes, a very nice way to move things around in your garage space when you need it, and also as maximize the ultimate storage space, your wall. Another aspect about the French cleat system that can't be understated is its flexibility. Featured behind me are a few of my tools, which would be difficult to find storage in any big box store, but here with just a little bit of plywood and a little bit of time, I was able to put them up on the wall. They're out of the way, but easily accessible whenever I need them. And finally, what we're about to go over in this video happened over the course of one weekend. I was able to just crank it out, put them up, and we were done. It's a very easy system to build at home with just some screws, glue, and plywood. Table saw is nice too. And then finally, as you get more tools later on, you can add to it without any issues. Some of the tool storage systems out there, they go out of stock or the line ends, meaning you've now got to mix and match different storage systems in your house, which just looks kind of sloppy. And of course, we don't want sloppy. We want neat, organized, basically what I have behind me. And in this age of made-up facts and living our alternate truths, I will tell you this. Having really well-displayed tools makes you 100% more attractive to a potential mate. In fact, for those individuals looking to look really attractive on any one of those dating apps, I would say go with this. I wouldn't recommend you use it on OnlyFans. Different clientele.
So let's start the process where I started it, with my wife gone and nobody to tell me I can't put the entire garage on the ground. Just prepping some walls. I'm going to paint this to ironically make the background color French gray. I can't make that up. It was the color that worked and it was called French gray. Thank you, Sherman Williams, for making my life truly ironic. You'll notice the plywood. That actually I went up around half the garage, and so the entire garage is now plywood covered with French gray paint. We start the process of the French cleat by tearing down some 4x8 sheets of plywood very carefully. And this is just an example of me being careful. French cleat making is somewhat repetitive. You do have about anywhere between 5 and, 100 strips to make. And the joy is you get to go at 45 degrees and cut every strip again. So whatever strip count you have, just say, hey, I'm going to mentally prepare to do everything twice and double that count. And of course, on a project like this, it's pretty easy to help teach the next generation how to use power tools so they can learn to rely on themselves, and you get to spend some quality time with your sons and daughters. Here's my daughter finding all the studs, including me. That's a good joke. I don't care who you are. And of course, what father doesn't like teaching his son how to use power tools? Might be a stereotype, slightly misogynistic, but it's true. What really impressed me was the difference between this take, his first try ever, and then of course, the second take, here to come, all solo. They learn fast. Teach them well. And here we are, back to the grind. Everything's on the ground that needs to be. It's time to put everything up. And I found this method works really well. Just to fix the straps temporarily to the top using an air nailer, and with this simple spacer, we'll go back with nails and make them really, really sturdy and affixed to the wall. Keep in mind there is plywood behind those, just painted gray. And so really the placement of the screws themselves don't matter. Just make them even like I'm doing here so, they look cool and professional. Shop's starting to come together. And here was a fun moment for me. Our neighbor was moving back to where his home is, but he decided to stop by, say some nice things about my handiwork, and give me a going-away gift. That's right, a neighbor's giving me a going-away gift, even though he's the one moving. Just shows you that there's some really awesome people in the world. I do miss this guy. And now it's time for my first set of tools to hang up. All my marking devices. And I can't tell you at all what I'm doing here with this calculator. Must be important. Table saw makes quick work of making the negative spaces where you're just going to insert all the marking devices. Careful with your fingers. Now it's at this time I'm going to demonstrate why you should always have a plan going forward, and it's not necessarily strictly for efficiency reason. It's so that you don't get absent-minded and start forgetting about the details. Details are important. Here I am just making the blade changes and doing all the necessary things to make separate types of cuts. You have to do this periodically. However, with a not so efficient process, you start doing more of them than necessary. I.e., I probably could have had to do one blade change. Instead, I made, well, let's just say more than one. And then you start to become absent-minded. And then you start not noticing everything. Even though you think you're being really careful, you're really not. And when you're not really being careful, you're really not being safe. To your detriment. As demonstrated here. Yes, that stung a little. Now, I can't recommend enough that no matter how angry you are, frustrated, and just want the process over, I strongly recommend you take some time and take a chill pill instead of turning the damn thing back on and getting right back to it. Because maybe after something like that, you're not thinking clearly.
So out there might be some people like me who had a past life, and in that past life you listened to medical personnel. We'll call them medical personnel for now. Sure, medical personnel. And these medical personnel said, hey man, just close up that wound with some medical glue. Fast forward present day. You don't have medical glue, but you do have fast setting wood glue. Just remember that before you do this, fast setting wood glue is exothermic. It gives off a ton of heat, which doesn't really feel good on an open wound. In fast setting glue's defense, it did put the skin back together.
Now the lesson here is that after an accident, go as fast as this and take some time to think. Maybe even take a break. Because after you take a break, you can make these nice triangle pieces. In fact, let's go ahead and take a break right now.
Here we are with my daughter. Another episode of Dad Jokes in the Workshop.
Big muscles.
All right, so yesterday I went to a job interview.
Okay.
They said, describe yourself in one word.
Okay.
I didn't get the job when I said, I can't follow instructions.
What?
You get it?
Yeah, I get it.
Okay. Do you think it's funny?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, so, daughter of mine,
Okay.
You know that the Ferris wheel and the merry-go-round never met?
No.
Mm-hmm. They traveled in different circles. A little too much?
I mean, they get like this way and this way.
Yeah. They travel in different circles.
Yeah.
Have I ever explained to you what traveling in different circles means? It means different groups of friends.
This isn't the 80s, Dad.
Wow. So I've got two dogs. I call them Rolex and Timex.
Okay.
They're both watchdogs.
That's good.
You like that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hey, so did you know that you have an Aunt Gladys that at the age of 65, to stay fit, she did 10,000 steps a day? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's 95 now, and we have no idea where she is.
Yeah.
So at 65, Aunt Gladys did 10,000 steps a day. Walked so far, we don't know where she is.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe this isn't the good joke.
No.
Okay.
Okay, getting back to the task at hand. We're just putting the pieces here together. You see the 45 section of the French cleat. Pre-drilling everything. Just because it's plywood doesn't mean we can skimp on the niceties. Always pre-drill. Just making a little negative space for some odd accoutrement here. But as you can see, most of the marking devices fit really nicely without too much ado. I've got a few hand planes to take care of. Again, just roughing out some pieces. Make sure they fit correctly. And then putting some border pieces in front because, well, you don't want a hand plane to fall off. Just securing the piece, making sure it's nice and snug before, of course, using an air tool. Safety first. And then as you'll see, quite often, just using some glue here, air gun, pre-drill, final screw. Rinse and repeat every single time. Gets a little repetitive, but the results look really nice. I know what you're thinking. It just can't get much more exciting than this. It's like watching the completion of a skyscraper, except better. Now, of course, you do have some larger tools in the shop, and they might require a little bit of thinking. Not much thinking, not really. It's the exact same thing. Some triangle pieces, a flat surface, and then a 45 mating piece of the French cleat. Sometimes you do have some random things like power cords. And that's what this is for. Look at me measuring exactly here. Remember, exactness is a science and an art. A little bit of glue and a little tappy-tappy with the hammer. A little bit of drying time, and I'll tell you for a fact that these pegs have been holding charge cords for the past 18 months. This is pretty much just another example of the same thing of holding the router. I just decided to make a router holder with some additional storage underneath. And this is my version of making it square. And you know what? It worked. Again, this is not complicated, people. And now everything's up there. Pretty much looks the same way now as it did back then. I hope both my fans appreciate all the effort I go to for good lighting. And here we are just making a giant shelf. And I can tell you it's the exact same thing as everything else we've seen so far. Some triangle pieces, a big long board cut to 45 degrees on one side, pre-drill, screw it in. Of course, I will say I was a little bit shocked about how easily this got installed. I was expecting some resistance, and there just wasn't any. And you can put a lot of stuff on a French cleat, folks, and I mean a lot. You get the idea. And now I'm just showing what happens when you get to the end and you realize you just have one piece left. One thing that you didn't think you had to do. Well, you just do more of the same. Don't forget to pre-drill. And again, the French cleat can go anywhere. And it can serve one purpose and one purpose only. I would call this custom built. This is a little bit random, but I'm really tired of not being able to find my router bits. Well, drill a bunch of holes into a board, put your router bits in them. I wish I could be more complicated, but I just can't. And ladies and gentlemen, it's demonstration time. Ooh, ah. Doesn't that look nice? This too can be yours for the low price of a little bit of effort and some plywood and some pre-drilling.
And don't limit the French cleat to just the garage workshop. You can use it in your just garage. No workshop. Now some of you might be asking, why didn't I super organize this to make it look like some kind of catalog that showed off your storage system? And the answer is simple. Nobody in their right mind keeps their garage that neat all the time unless they are just trying to show it off. Behind me is a garage. It is a tool. Tools should be easy to use and not hard to maintain. So I'll be very honest, for this shoot I came out, plopped down the camera and pressed record. This is the way it looks all the time. And so if you compare it to what's in your garage right now and how you're storing it, maybe this is better. And of course, don't limit yourself to building everything out of wood. I did go to the big box store, spent $5 on these hooks for my son's scooter system, but behind there's just the French cleat. Big picture, I just wanted to show how you can extend storage for a garage tool shop back into just the garage. For those of you that don't have a workshop and have no desire to have one, well, you can still use the French cleat for just your garage and maybe save yourself on that storage unit that's costing $100 a month. The system lends itself to being easily sustainable, meaning you can keep it looking organized without too much effort. So, borrow some tools if you don't have them, make some storage. So there we go, the French cleat system. Really easy to produce in a weekend given the right tools and some simple supplies. And the end results are pretty good. You can customize your space to whatever you want, and the end result is still the same no matter how you do it, which is a storage system that is easy to maintain, flexible for your needs, and really strong. And then go ahead, compare it to some of the options that you can get straight off the shelf, and you'll see you're saving a ton of money. The French cleat. Thanks for joining us today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.